Welcome to day 10 of the Wall Street Crossover Show. We are TIP TV in conjunction with our sponsors Admiral Markets, and it gives me great pleasure once again to reintroduce Mr. Darren Sinden, market commentator for Admiral Markets. Darren, greetings.
Good afternoon, Nick.
Just a quick recap, if you're watching for the first time, please tell your friends this is a daily segment, 1 p.m. every day. We cover basically Europe and then go into what's going to, in theory, happen on Wall Street. Again, we're open to interpretations, viewers' thoughts and any general feedback to see if we can improve the show.
Yeah.
Okay, well, without further ado, let's kick off with the first slide today. Data released in the European session.
Well, it's quite a quiet day out there, Nick, today, because it's Labour Day for most of Europe. Most of my European colleagues are off, and so relatively quiet on the data front. But there are a couple of bits of data from the UK that are worth looking at. First of all, UK manufacturing PMI for April, a read of 51.9, so still showing signs of growth.
So above 50.
Yes, but slowing growth, and perhaps I think that I'm right in saying that's the lowest figure we've had for 7 months. And also slightly disconcerting is the fact that the March figure was revised lower as well. So probably not what David Cameron and Nick Clegg would like to hear just ahead of next week's election. So keep an eye on those kind of numbers going forward. Against that, UK mortgage approvals for March, 61,341 mortgages were approved in March versus 61,500 in February. That's been seen as a broadly positive number, and lending generally, consumer credit numbers were better, so lending seems to be up in the economy, which is a sign perhaps of a healthy economy and consumer confidence.
Understood. Yeah. Okay, let's go to our second slide, FTSE 100 movers and shakers.
We don't seem to be able to get away from PMI data. There was Chinese official PMI data for April out ahead of the European Open. A read came in above 50, albeit by just 0.1%. But that's been seen as a positive sign for the mining stocks. Rio...
4.5%,
yes,
wow.
Yeah, up 4.5%. An extraordinary move in Rio. It wouldn't be alone in big moves in all the other mining majors. I've just picked Rio out as an example. But an even bigger move, and perhaps an even more surprising move in Lloyds Bank, up 7.25% today on better than expected results. What I find interesting about this is that the stock keeps going better, even in the face of persistent government selling. Morgan Stanley, I believe, have had an order to sell down the government stake, and that's ongoing as far as I'm aware, but yet the stock continues to rise even in the face.
And we saw a broker upgrade this week into the 90s, didn't we? So, and again, the dividend outlook.
Absolutely. Although, you know, the government has said, or the outgoing government has said, they would look to try and sell off a chunk more to the general public. So there's plenty of supply, but or potential supply in the pipeline, yet they still go better. And Aberdeen Asset Management, one that's going the other way, down almost 2% today, as HSBC trims its price target for the stock from £5.30 to £5.10.
Understood. Okay, let's go to the next slide. M&A rumours and movers.
Okay.
Much rumouring around this morning?
Yeah, there is a bit actually, but from the States, and this is a stock that we talked about last week from an earnings perspective. But Altera, which makes some very high-end computer chips that are used in industrial processes, is said to be in the sights of Intel once more. So Altera, ALTR, their ticker there, they're up 4.25% on this story, pre-market, up at $41.68. Intel is said to have discussed an offer of around $58 per share in February. In the end, apparently offered $54 to Altera, and the board sent them packing. Altera's market cap is around 12.5 billion, so it would be a bite-sized acquisition for Intel if they were to proceed. Altera shares are up 30% since October 2014. After the offer was rejected by the Altera board, a standstill agreement was said to have been signed. So Intel couldn't do anything until the beginning of June, but that's obviously only a month away now. And you know, the stories are doing the rounds. There's a bit of shareholder activism. A couple of Canadian shareholders in Altera are looking for a deal to be done. I'd also keep an eye on another name in this space, which is Xilinx. That's ticker XLNX, because they're very similar to Altera. So if there is positive news for Altera, you could expect something to happen there, I would have thought as well. So.
Understood. Let's take a next slide, please. The US data points to keep an eye on.
Okay, well, back to PMI data. Two PMI numbers to watch for in the States this afternoon. The official manufacturing PMI looking for no change there, 54.2 versus the prior read of 54.2. Probably the one that more people tend to look at, the Institute of Supply and Manufacturing, or ISM, manufacturing PMI for April, and here we're looking for 52 versus 51.5, so a slightly better read than we saw in March. And then later on, another closely followed consumer sentiment survey, this time the Michigan Consumer Sentiment, looking for a slight improvement on March, a read of 96 versus 95.9.
Understood. Okay, let's take a look at the final slide, the US pre-market movers and the key chart levels for today.
Okay, well, the big news in pre-market movers is LinkedIn. What looked like good numbers on the face of it yesterday, but the guidance for the next quarter is absolutely shocking as far as the US market is concerned. And, it's voted with its feet. They're down 19.5%, and they were down as much as 26% at one point. And they're a lot of broker notes coming out today in the States slashing price targets on LinkedIn. So the second social media stock in a week that's not pleased the market. And another stock that's also feeling displeasure is a thing called Pixelworks. They make specialist chips, video chips, processing chips for computers and the like. Again, an earnings miss and weak guidance from them, and pre-market they're down 8.6% as well. So, a little bit of red on the board for those two. In terms of levels to watch today, not too much going on. We just widened one or two things. Obviously, the US indices have moved a bit lower. 2077 on the S&P now, your downside level. 2098, the upside level to watch. And in the Dow, 17,770 and 18,030 is a sort of range to keep an eye on today. Euro dollar, 112 even for the downside, 112.85 is your upside level. Aussie dollar, US dollar, 78.60 and 79.16 are the ranges there. Dollar yen, 118.95 to the downside, 119.88 to the upside. And lastly, cable, giving a bit of ground, but 152.75 is that downside level to watch, and 153.96 to the upside.
Got to say, the euro dollar, beginning of the week, there wasn't too many people saying, we'd be trading sort of 111, 112 area.
No, I'm pleased to say I probably was one of those.
Well done you, Darren.
But there we go.
Okay, that wraps up the Wall Street crossover show. Darren Sinden, market commentator, Admiral Markets. Thank you very much indeed for your support. We'll be back same time, 1 p.m. on Wednesday. So we've got a bank holiday Monday, and the TIP TV Towers is closing on Tuesday for the day. So we'll be back at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. Have a good break. Thank you.